Painting a wall without painting the wall. Welcome, kobolds. Today I want to talk to you about that thing that I've been announcing every Sunday for a couple of Sundays, and it's the wall I'm working on as an art installation. So why am I talking about painting a wall without painting the wall? The problem is that in a lot of circumstances, we want to do some artistic changes to our environment, but painting the wall might not be a viable solution. What I mean is maybe you are on rent, maybe it's your house, but you don't want to ruin the walls with dark colors. Maybe you are a teenager and your parents don't want you to paint your walls in a dark color. That means that you either give up the idea of painting your wall, or you have to find other solutions. Wallpaper may not be the best solution because it's anyway glue on the wall and it ruins the wall the same way as paint, even though less. But in some of these circumstances, it might still be not a viable solution. So personally, I'm in the position where I have my own apartment and I have a wall, actually 3 walls, so we will work on 3 walls, that I want to paint and I don't want to ruin. I don't want to paint it black and then maybe in a couple of years or in a couple of months change my mind and decide that I want to paint it pink. It's not going to happen, but anyway. Besides, if you want to make something artistic or peculiar and you paint it with very, very bright colors or dark colors, it's going to be very difficult to cover it and make it look plain so that you can paint on it again. And there's also the fact that it's going to make a lot of layers of paint. So what can you do? Obviously, you can do whatever you want. I can give you my solution. And my solution is wrapping paper. So there's these big things, these big rolls of wrapping paper that you can easily buy on internet, and they cost really little because it's like 37 euros for 200 meters and it's 50 centimeters wide. So you have a very, very big bulk of material to work on. And then the problem becomes, number one, you have to consider that when you're using wrapping paper to paint with watercolors or whatever, this surface underneath is going to not be like a canvas. It's going to bend and make this little waves and stuff due to water. That's gonna happen. It's not gonna be big. You can see it behind me. It's not gonna be big, but there's going to be some patterns, visible patterns in the wrapping paper. So if you can accept that and you want to keep going with the wrapping paper, you need to decide how to stick it on the wall. Now this is going to be a very big problem. Number one, you cannot use wallpaper glue because wrapping paper is going to break when you try to detach it from the glue in a future moment. So either wallpaper, which is mostly made of fabric, or no glue for wrapping paper. That's not going to work. The most durable solution, as far as I've found out, is to use double-faced, how is it called? Scotch. That's drink in English. Wait a moment, I can say that. Tape. Double-faced tape. That kind that is particularly strong and adapted to the wall. You can use that, bits and pieces, because otherwise it's gonna cost a fortune. Or if you're going to do something that doesn't stay up forever, which means in a couple of months or a couple of years, it's going to detach and you can make it anew, and it's not a problem for you to make it anew, you can use, I have the word this time, masking tape. So masking tape is not made for stable and durable installations, but if you are anything like me and you like to change, it's going to be a good solution for temporary installations. So you basically go on your ladder and climb up the wall and stick it wherever you want. If you're a teenager, I would suggest do not do the ladder thing, please, because we don't want you to fall down and break something. Adults can do whatever they want. I want to take responsibility for that. When you reach halfway the wall, you already have a change in your room. It's not necessary to cover the whole wall. I covered the whole wall because I'm crazy. That's basically the answer. I wanted to see the whole wall painted. And so, basically, masking tape is something that you can use to stick your wrapping paper to the wall. And you have to consider that you have to pay attention. The piece of wrapping paper, the panel of wrapping paper needs to be vertically right, straight. It has to be vertically attached the way you're going to stick it to the wall. You shouldn't move it around when you put the masking tape on. I decided to put the masking tape all around the panels because that makes them look like wallpaper, even though there are the little waves and everything that we talked about. And that specific thing is because if you don't do that, I'm going to show you what happens. You will see now passing. It makes these bubbles that look like the paper had an issue or something, but it's just a matter of not attaching the panel vertically in the correct way. In some way, it was the first panel that I attached, and somehow I tried to pull it in a direction that wasn't the natural direction of the wrapping paper. So, once you've done this, which is gonna take long because it's not a fast thing, first you have to cut your wrapping paper in the length that you need. I personally decided to put some masking tape on the floor to define the starting point and masking tape at the length where I want it to arrive. So every panel is the same length. Then the problem becomes that you have to consider that the masking tape has its height, and putting the masking tape always at the same height is basically impossible. So there's going to be a little bit of movement up and down, but you can fix it with masking tape afterwards. So you put another layer of masking tape. Now we have a problem. We have to paint our wall, and we're not going to use paint or wall paint, or even if we did, since it's water stuff, the problem is that masking tape is made in such a way that the glue can detach from the paper side, which means there's going to be some wax or some tools, something to make it possible to detach the masking tape. And that stuff is water repellent. How do you fix the fact that you cannot paint on the masking tape after you have glued masking tape all around the panel? There is a solution that will cover your masking tape and make it possible for you to paint with acrylics, for example, without having the problem of the masking tape repelling water. And now we are going to have a problem. It's called a primer. The primer can be homemade. It's going to be casting plaster primer, something like that. And you can find it. It can be bought already ready, and you can use it to cover your wall, but it costs bazillions of money, tons of money. It's really, 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 really expensive. So how can you do a low-cost solution? Low-cost solution is done with powder, with casting plaster in powder, and a specific recipe, which is 2 parts of casting plaster, one part PVA glue, 1 part white acrylic, and 1 part water. That gives you the primer that you need to cover the masking tape. You can do it the way I did. You can see it back there. I decided to cover the whole panel because I wanted to make it, I wanted the acrylics I will use later to stick on the surface in a homogeneous way, in the same way in every part of the panel. And that primer covers the masking tape. It prevents the acrylics from slipping away from the masking tape, and it provides you with the surface that you can use to paint your wall. Now, a little bit of a piece of advice. There is a way to prepare this primer that is not the most suggested way, and if you talk to AIs, they will tell you not to do that because it's chemically wrong for some reason, but I used it and it's there. And it's using powder joint compound for the Americans, and for Europe, powder filler, which is the UK expression, instead of casting plaster. If you use powder joint compound or powder filler instead of the casting plaster, the solution that you're going to make, the paste, the thingy that you're going to use to cover your wall, is going to make a lot of balls. It's not going to act the right way because powder filler contains raisins. No, that's the wrong pronunciation. It contains stuff taken from to make it stick together. It already contains what is necessary to stick together, but you cannot use it diluted and use it on the wall, on your wrapping paper and stuff, because it becomes too liquid and the waves and stuff become too evident. The powder filler becomes too stiff, and the final result is really shitty. But if you use the recipe that I already mentioned and you use powder filler instead of casting plaster, the final result is going to feel under your finger just like a wall. And that's why I'm suggesting you to do it regardless. How do you use something that is not suggested with the problem is that mixing this stuff that is mixed with the powder and PVA glue is not a good idea. But if you use a very deep container instead of a wide one, the water is going to make it, it's going to be 2 parts of powder filler and 2 parts water in this case. And you're going to have water keep the whole thing fluid. So you can work longer, you will have less balls once you have mixed the whole thing, and your surface is going to look like a wall. From there on, I still need to move on and decide what to do. We're going to talk further about this topic because now I'm thinking about how to paint it. The first problem is that saturated surfaces in dark colors pull the light and make the environment dark. We want a dark color that doesn't make the environment dark. How can we do that? The solution to the next video. This is all for today. See you the next time.